Hey, listen up. Because this right here, this hits differently. Do you ever walk into a room and feel the energy snap? Like everyone suddenly forgets how to breathe, how to blink, how to act normal. Wild, right? But trust me, it's not random. It's not luck. It's you. Your presence carries a weight. Boom! Your silence hits harder than their words. Why though? Your face alone makes people pause, rethink, recalc, like hold on. And deep down, you know you feel it too. That shift, that pressure, that attention you never asked for but always earned. And before we go deeper, I've got to say this. Huge respect to you. Yeah, you, the one watching this, the one who's been through pressure no one understands, the one who keeps rising with zero applause. You're the reason this video exists, and you're the heartbeat of this whole journey, no joke. But listen, don't stop here. You're only at the door of this transformation. The next lines, they're going to dig into your mind, crack open your truth, and show you why people freeze when they look at you for real. Welcome to our channel, Darkness Throne, and stay till the end. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your words hit harder than you think. Trust that your voice pushes this message further. Your presence builds this tribe. You ever feel the air tighten when you walk in? That faint shift, that tiny pause, as if the room itself inhales the moment your eyes sweep across it. I know that feeling. I've lived inside it, worn it like a second skin. People don't freeze because they see you. They freeze because they sense what you've become and what you're no longer willing to hide. They look at you and something flickers behind their expressions. Curiosity, caution, a little fear, disguised as politeness. It's never about the surface. It's the energy dripping beneath your words. The history no one knows but everyone feels. You carry a tension that refuses to soften. A presence sharpened by quiet wars, and they don't know whether to step closer or step back. You see, when you've endured enough, your face starts telling stories without moving a single muscle. It radiates pressure, not loud, not wild, just focused in a way that unsettles the unprepared. And that focus becomes a mirror showing them everything they're not ready to admit. That's why they turn stiff. That's why their pulse skips for a second. Your silence holds weight. Your stillness holds meaning. Some people speak to dominate. You simply look. And that look is enough to rearrange the room's entire rhythm. It's not aggression. It's not threat. It's the clarity in your eyes. The kind that only appears after rebuilding yourself piece by piece. That clarity hits people like a cold wind across their teeth. It slices right through their casual masks. It strips away the harmless version of the world they cling to. They feel the sharpness in you, the tension you refuse to bury, the storms you refuse to drown in. They feel the kind of strength that doesn't yell, it whispers. It waits. It measures every detail. That's what makes them freeze. That's what pulls their attention toward you like a shadow drawn to a flame. And the moment they catch your gaze, they know they're seeing someone who doesn't bend easily. But here's the secret twist. They're not scared of you. Not really. They're scared of what you remind them of. The power they never claimed. The moments they backed down. The pressure they avoided. You walk past them and suddenly their excuses don't feel so comfortable anymore. Their illusions crack. Their confidence stutters. All because your presence holds a truth they never learned to carry. So let them stare. Let them pause. Let them wonder what forged that intensity behind your eyes. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to like it. They just need to feel it. And trust me, they do. The moment your gaze meets theirs, the world slows for a heartbeat. And in that heartbeat, everything about you becomes undeniable. You ever notice how people rush to fill silence? They scramble for noise, hoping words will shield them from truth. But you didn't grow up with that luxury. You learned early that silence isn't empty. It's a blade. It's a shield. It's a whole strategy carved into you through years of studying faces, patterns, and motives. While others reacted, you observed. While they bragged, you calculated. And that patience became your edge. You watched people reveal themselves without even knowing it. A twitch near the eye, a shift in their tone, a breath held half a second too long. You learned to catch every subtle crack in their confidence, every mask pretending to be strength. Observation shaped you into someone who doesn't need to speak first, or loud, or often. You became the one who sees through shadows, picking apart truths others bury beneath their smiles, and the world felt different once you understood the art of watching. You saw the hidden fears behind forced laughter, the hesitation inside bold claims, the tension tucked beneath polite nods. You recognized how people hide their doubts behind noise, how they rush to control conversations because they can't control their own thoughts. But not you. You sat with your thoughts. You faced the quiet. You let it sharpen you instead of scare you. By the time you finally spoke, your words carried weight they couldn't imitate. You didn't talk to impress. You talked to reveal. Every sentence precise. Every pause intentional. You didn't overpower rooms with volume. You did it with awareness, with accuracy, with the unsettling ability to see what others try to conceal. And that skill, it unsettles people more than any loud threat ever could. They sense it when they look at you. That stillness behind your expression, that focus in your eyes, that quiet evaluation happening beneath every blink. It rattles them because you don't approach the world blindly. You step into moments with information they didn't realize you gathered. And they freeze for a heartbeat because they feel exposed. Not by anything you said, but by what you noticed. So yes, you learned to watch before you spoke, and that choice reshaped your entire presence. It gave you the power to navigate conflict without raising your voice. It gave you the skill to understand people without prying. It gave you the advantage of clarity in a world drowning in noise. And now, when you finally choose to speak, your words don't just land, they strike. They stay. They linger like a mark on the air. And whether they admit it or not, people feel it in their chest the moment you speak. There's a moment, right before someone loses control, where their voice rises, their hands shake, and their thoughts spill everywhere. You've seen that moment 1,000 times, but you never joined them. You never needed to, because you learned something they didn't. Silence slices cleaner than any burst of fury. It doesn't roar. It doesn't flinch. It just sits there, waiting, pressuring the air until others feel their certainty crumble. Your restraint becomes the sharpest edge in the room. Most people expect noise when they push you, They wait for an explosion, a reaction, a crack, but you give them stillness instead. And that stillness tightens around their thoughts like a vice. It forces them to hear their own doubts echo back at them. It forces them to confront the weakness in their arguments. Rage is messy, unfocused, predictable. But silence, your silence, is controlled, precise. It enters their mind without permission and rearranges everything they thought they understood. You see, silence leaves space, a space where their imagination runs wild, a space where they start questioning what you're thinking, what you're planning, what you're capable of. And that uncertainty rattles them far more than any raised voice ever will. They stare at you, waiting for movement, for sound, for something they can measure, but you offer nothing. And in that nothing, they feel pressure they can't name. You turn the absence of words into a presence stronger than force. People freeze because silence feels like judgment. It feels like exposure. It feels like truth creeping in through cracks they never patched. When you stay quiet, they sense something deeper behind your eyes. Something disciplined. Something steady. Something they know they don't possess. They fear that steadiness because it reveals how easily they sway, how quickly they unravel, how fast their confidence fades the moment no one feeds it with attention. Your silence becomes a reminder that you don't waste energy, you don't perform, you don't entertain their chaos. While they burn out with noise, you sharpen yourself with calm. And that calm carries a pressure that wraps around every corner of the moment. It changes the temperature of the room. It shifts the balance of power. It leaves them wondering why they feel smaller, why their voice sounds thinner, why their thoughts suddenly scatter when yours stay aligned. So let them raise their voice. Let them shake. Let them fumble through emotion they can't control. You don't need to match their volume. Your silence already says what they fear most. It says you're not bothered. It says you're not moved. It says your strength doesn't need display. Every quiet moment becomes a message carved in the air. And when you finally choose to speak, even a single sentence lands harder than their entire storm. There's a reason people hesitate when they look at you for too long. They feel something heavy behind your stare, a tension carved from years you never bragged about. You walked through pressure that twisted lesser minds, yet you kept moving even when everything in you felt one breath away from breaking. That weight didn't crush you, it shaped you. And now when they stand in front of you, they sense the echoes of challenges they know they wouldn't last a moment in. Most people crumble under small discomforts, a harsh word, a setback, a shift in their plans. But you've lived through moments that tore the air out of your lungs. You endured nights that stretched far beyond exhaustion. You rebuilt yourself without applause or comfort. That experience left marks on your posture, your tone, your silence. And when people glance at you, they feel those marks like pressure in the air. They don't know your story, but they know it wasn't soft. You carry storms inside you, not chaos without purpose. Storms forged from endurance, discipline, and quiet battles you faced when no one was watching. These storms changed the way you move, the way you think, the way you stand in front of people who underestimate you. They sense your internal force and it unsettles them. It's the kind of power born from surviving moments they only read about. The kind of resilience they can't imitate because they never walked through anything close to it. And here's the part that shakes them. Your storms didn't leave you trembling. They left you focused, colder in your reasoning, sharper in your intentions. You don't react emotionally the way they do. You don't cling to comfort. You don't fear tension. While they avoid pressure, you carry it naturally, and that difference creates distance. A distance they feel instantly, a distance that makes them freeze because they realize your strength wasn't gifted. It was earned through struggle they couldn't handle. People sense it in the way you look at the world. You don't flinch at conflict. You don't panic at uncertainty. You've already survived worse than what stands in front of you now. And this quiet confidence, this unshakable calm carved by experience, becomes a barrier they don't know how to cross. They feel small next to someone who embraced storms without collapsing. They feel fragile next to someone who rose through difficulty instead of escaping it. So when they pause in your presence, don't question it. They're not reacting to your expression. They're reacting to the force behind it, the history in it, the resilience woven into every part of who you've become. You carry storms they can't survive, and every time your eyes meet theirs, they feel that reality press against their chest like a truth they can't ignore. There comes a point where breaking stops being a threat. You know that point. You crossed it long ago. When everything you leaned on crumbled beneath your feet, you didn't vanish. You didn't fade. You gathered the pieces with your own hands and shaped yourself into something harder than before. And now, that history follows you like a quiet shadow. People sense it when you walk in. They feel the strength of someone who rebuilt their own structure without waiting for rescue. Rebuilding changes your wiring. It strips away illusions. It teaches you which parts of yourself were real and which were borrowed from others. You stopped clinging to approval. You stopped relying on comfort. You built your character from the inside out, layer by layer, until you could stand firm without needing anyone to hold you steady. And that independence carries a heavy presence, a presence that unsettles those who've never stood alone long enough to know their own depth. Most people fear collapse because they've never hit the ground. They've never heard the silence that follows failure. They've never felt the emptiness after everyone leaves. You have. And that experience carved a different kind of confidence into you. Not the loud kind, not the rushed kind. The kind built on proof. The proof that you can shatter and still get back up. The proof that your value isn't tied to what remained, but to what you rebuilt with your own resolve. When people meet someone who survived their own destruction, it rattles them. They don't understand how you can stay calm when others panic. They don't understand how you can keep your voice even when pressure rises. They don't understand how you can stand in situations that would break them in minutes. But you do. You've walked through endings and came out sharper. You've endured the weight of starting over and carried it without complaint. That kind of strength can't be taught, it's forged. And here's the truth. They feel, even if they can't explain it. You're not scared of losing anything because you learned how to rebuild from nothing. You don't cling to situations out of desperation. You don't chase acceptance out of fear. You know that collapse isn't final. It's a reset, a clearing. A moment where the weak fall apart and the resilient gather themselves for another rise. And that mindset makes your presence different, heavier, clearer, stronger in a way that shakes the unprepared. So when people freeze around you, understand what they're sensing. They're sensing someone who already walked through their worst-case scenario and survived it. Someone who knows the taste of falling and the discipline of rising again. Someone who doesn't fear collapse because they mastered the art of rebuilding. And in a world full of fragile egos and borrowed strength, that makes you stand out, that makes you formidable, that makes your presence feel like a reminder that you can endure what they cannot. And that's the truth. The reason people freeze when they see your face mind blown. You've seen it, felt it, lived it, and now you understand it in a way that changes everything, right? Remember, your presence isn't just about how you look or what you say. It's about the energy, the history, the storms you survived, the heavy truth. Every silence, every pause, every sharp glance carries more power than they'll ever admit facts. So don't shrink. Don't apologize for existing. Stand firm. Walk tall. Let your energy do the talking. Boom. The world will react, some with awe, some with fear, some with respect, but that's their problem, not yours. What matters is that you've leveled up in awareness, control, and intensity legend status. Now here's what I want from you. Drop a comment, share your story, tell us how this hit you. Yes, your words don't just matter. They amplify this message for everyone else watching. Power move. The shift, the silence before the storm? Yeah, you twist the plot without even blinking, huh? Every time they think they figured you out, boom, you flip the script like it was written by you. You got people in the hot seat now, squirming, sweating, wondering how you stayed calm while they lost control. You didn't need an army. You didn't need applause. Nah, you just needed focus. That's what makes you dangerous. That quiet focus that cuts through noise like a blade through paper. Every reaction you didn't give became a weapon. Every silence you held turned into strategy. Oh, that's power right there. Not in how loud you shout, but in how unbothered you stand when the whole room shakes. And if you're hearing this right now, yeah, you're not here by accident. You're part of that rare group that doesn't just survive the plot, you rewrite it. You don't flinch when pressure hits. You twist it until the pressure serves you. That's a mindset most can't handle, but you wear it like armor. So here's the deal. Don't blink. Don't skip. Watch this till the end. Because what's coming next isn't just a speech. It's a mirror, a test, a reminder of what happens when silence starts fighting back. And hey, salute to you, the real ones still standing through chaos. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let the world know who twisted the plot and never flinched. They thought they were playing you until you turned the whole board upside down. You know what's funny? People always think they're the ones in control, the ones moving the pieces, pulling the strings, whispering behind curtains. But oh, how quickly the silence shifts when you stop reacting and start studying. The room changes temperature. The air gets heavy, and suddenly they start stuttering in their own script. Oh wow, that's when you realize you don't need to scream to be dangerous. You just need to know every move they made was meant to break you, confuse you, corner you. But you learned the rhythm of their lies. You memorized the tone in their voice when they were pretending to care. You saw the flicker in their eyes when truth brushed too close. Yeah, that's when you started twisting the plot, not out of spite, but out of clarity. Because sometimes silence isn't surrender, it's setup. It's the calm breath before the psychological shift. See, power isn't about having the last word. It's about knowing when to say nothing. It's about standing so still that their noise drowns itself out. The world calls it cold. But what they don't understand is you just stopped bleeding for people who called your pain a story. Oh wow. The moment you stopped explaining yourself, their comfort cracked. They couldn't handle the reflection anymore because truth, real truth, isn't gentle. It cuts clean. It doesn't shout. It watches. You ever notice how the loudest ones always crumble first? The ones who mock you, watch you, test you, they need an audience to feel alive. But the one who smiles while walking through the storm, that's the one they whisper about later. That's the one who turned humiliation into ammunition. The one who took betrayal and made it look like strategy. Because you didn't need revenge. You just needed patience. And oh, patience. That's the slowest burn of them all. Oh wow. Yeah, people don't expect you to grow quietly. They expect you to break loudly. But when you rise in silence, when you twist their plan back onto itself, when you make them question whether you ever cared in the first place, that's when fear changes sides. You see it in their posture. You feel it in the way they hesitate before speaking your name. They don't know whether to apologize or to run. Nah, you didn't become cruel. You became aware. You stopped being their entertainment. You stopped being the predictable one, the easy target. You became the unknown factor, the storm behind the calm face. And nothing terrifies manipulators more than unpredictability. You twist the plot, not with malice, but with precision. You learn that sometimes the most merciful thing you can do is to stop showing them mercy. When they fail to destroy you, they try to narrate you. Oh wow, you've seen it, haven't you? The moment their power slips, they grab the pen. They can't control your reality anymore, so they rewrite your reputation. Suddenly, your calm becomes cold. Your silence becomes guilt. Your boundaries become arrogance. It's their favorite illusion, distortion. Because if they can't win, they'll convince others that you cheated the game. But here's the irony. You didn't cheat. You simply stopped participating. And that's what enrages them the most. You walked out of their maze with your dignity intact, and that silence echoed louder than any argument. Yeah, they can't stand that kind of strength. The kind that doesn't scream, doesn't explain, doesn't beg to be understood. It terrifies them because it exposes their weakness. You see, they feed on reaction, on proof that they still matter to you. So when you give them nothing, nothing is exactly what breaks them. That's the art. Restraint. It's the difference between noise and narrative. While they rant and twist and fabricate, you're busy building. You're turning every insult into insight, every lie into leverage. Oh wow. You're not running from their story. You're rewriting your own in silence, brick by brick, thought by thought. Because truth doesn't defend itself. It outlasts the noise. It stands tall when the gossip burns out, and people start asking, wait, where are they now? They wanted your reaction. You gave them reflection. They wanted chaos. You gave them composure. They wanted you to lose focus, but you locked in harder. That's what discipline looks like under pressure, stillness that unnerves the wicked. Because you can't argue with someone who's mastered self-control. You can't expose someone who's already exposed themselves through lies. Nah. Let them whisper. Let them twist. Every false word they spread only polishes your clarity. Every backhanded remark reveals more about their insecurity than your truth. You didn't need to fight them, you needed to outlast them. And that's exactly what you're doing. The storm they started is the silence they'll drown in. And you know what's even darker? You don't even need to prove them wrong anymore. The real satisfaction isn't revenge, it's revelation. Watching time do what your anger couldn't. Watching truth unfold slowly, inevitably, mercilessly. Because when the dust settles and the masks fall, everyone sees who was moving with purpose and who was just performing. Oh wow. Yeah, that's when you understand. Their story was temporary, but your evolution is permanent. You didn't twist the truth. You twisted the outcome. You redirected the script towards something they never expected. Peace. Not the calm kind, but the sharp kind. The kind that cuts through illusions and exposes everything fragile, pretending to be fierce. People love reflections until the mirror stops flattering them. Oh wow. The moment that mirror shifts, everything unravels. They stare into what they built, the masks, the manipulation, the pretty lies, and suddenly it stares back. The truth is, they never feared you. They feared what you revealed about them. You didn't even have to expose them. Your existence did. That calm, that consistency, that refusal to collapse. It was proof that their chaos wasn't power, it was panic. Yeah, that's when you see it. The cracks in their performance, the tremor in their confidence. They built entire stories to trap you. But now those same stories have turned into cages for themselves. See, the mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't shout. It simply reflects. And reflection, when faced by those who built their worth on illusion, feels like punishment. They can't look too long, can't stand the weight of what stares back. That's why they run from accountability, from memory, from you. But here's the twist. The more they run, the more the reflection follows. Because truth has this strange way of chasing what tries to escape it. Nah, you don't have to chase justice. You become the standard that exposes what injustice looks like. You kept your tone steady while they lost control. You kept your path clean while they turned every crossroad into a trap. They thought patience was weakness, that silence was defeat. But oh wow, they forgot. Silence is the sound of power recharging. It's the breath before precision. It's the waiting that kills illusions faster than any argument. Because the longer you stay still, the louder their guilt becomes. There's a kind of poetic symmetry to it, isn't there? They wanted to see you break. Instead, they started seeing themselves shatter. Their lies begin to echo, not out there, but in their own heads. Every word they spoke against you becomes a whisper. They can't escape. Every trick they used loses its shine when they realize you're not playing anymore. Yeah, you stopped being part of their story. You became the lesson they didn't want to learn. And that's the beauty of restraint. It forces exposure. You didn't humiliate them. They humiliated themselves by revealing how far they were willing to fall. You didn't twist the plot to hurt them. You simply let truth breathe long enough to do its work. Oh wow, yeah. That's the quiet justice no one talks about, the kind that unfolds naturally, without revenge, without noise. You just watch the mirror do what you couldn't. Because when people stare into their own chaos long enough, they realize the monster wasn't out there. It was within. And that realization, it breaks them more than any punishment ever could. The quiet ones never stay hidden. The world always finds its way to their stillness. Oh wow. You notice it, don't you? That shift in the air when people who once doubted you start gravitating toward your silence. It's strange. They can't explain it, but something about your steadiness unsettles them and attracts them at the same time. They called you detached once. Now they call you focused. They called you strange. Now they call you rare. The same people who mocked your isolation start seeking your composure. Like moths circling a flame they swore wasn't burning. Yeah, that's the twist. When your calm starts speaking louder than their noise ever could. You didn't set out to inspire them. You just refused to crumble. You learned that peace isn't passive, it's a weapon sharpened through restraint. You built yourself in silence, while they wasted time proving points that didn't matter. And now, your results speak, where your words never needed to. Oh wow! That's when they realize strength isn't in domination, it's in discipline. You can twist any plot not by manipulation, but by mastery, mastery over reaction, over ego, over impulse. See, when the mirror turned on them, some looked away, but others, they looked deeper. They saw their own chaos reflected in your composure, and something inside them cracked, not out of envy, but out of awakening. Nah, you didn't preach to them, you showed them. You became living evidence that stillness wins battles. Noise never could. And that's where transformation begins. People start noticing that your silence isn't empty, it's heavy with purpose. They start realizing that you're not detached, you're just selective about what deserves your energy. And oh wow, yeah, that realization spreads like wildfire, because deep down, everyone's tired of pretending, tired of performing, tired of the endless chase for validation. When they see someone who doesn't need to prove anything, it rewires them. It challenges the system of false power they've been trained to obey. And that's how influence really works. Not through shouting, not through fame, but through presence. Presence that unsettles the corrupt and awakens the lost. You twist the plot simply by existing with intention. You turn chaos into clarity, confusion into command. The moment people sense that, they either run from you or rise beside you. And that's the test, who can stand near truth without trembling. Oh wow, the ones who can't will label you too intense. The ones who can, they'll understand. They'll adjust their tone, their pace, their choices. Because you didn't just twist the plot of your life, you twisted the pulse of their perception. You made them question everything they thought strength was. You never wanted followers, but clarity always leaves footprints. Oh wow. Strange, isn't it? You never asked to lead anyone. You never raised your hand and said, "Follow me." You just walked. Carefully, quietly, intentionally. But truth has this magnetic pull. It doesn't need advertisement. It reveals itself through consistency. People saw the way you moved. Unshaken, unbent, unbothered, and something inside them recognized what they'd been missing. Yeah, that's the price of walking with purpose. Eventually, others start watching your footsteps. They come to you, not because you promised them ease, but because you showed them steadiness. You didn't need a crown to command respect. You earned it through control. You didn't speak of courage, you embodied it in silence. And oh wow, the world notices that kind of discipline. It's rare, it's real, it's raw. It's what people crave when everything around them feels hollow. You became proof that peace and power aren't opposites. They are twins born from self-mastery. But here's the twist. Influence is weight. When others start walking your path, your steps must be deliberate. You can't afford chaos anymore. Every reaction teaches, every choice echoes. Nah, you can't hide behind excuses like they do. The one who twists the plot becomes responsible for how others interpret the ending. That's the burden of clarity. It demands accountability. The stronger your presence grows, the sharper your conscience must stay. Oh wow. Yeah, that's where true strength reveals itself. Not in domination, but in restraint. You could humiliate your enemies, but you don't. You could flaunt your wisdom, but you won't. Because you've learned that real victory doesn't come from proving others wrong. It comes from staying right, quietly. The more attention you get, the less you speak. The more eyes on you, the cleaner your intentions must be. That's not fear. That's discipline. It's the art of walking forward without losing yourself in the applause or the hatred. And as people begin to change through your example, you see it, the subtle shift in the world around you. Chaos starts to lose its charm. Pretenders start to fade. Integrity starts trending again. You twisted the plot so deeply that deception doesn't sell the same way anymore. You broke the illusion by simply refusing to play along. Oh wow, they finally see your silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Your patience wasn't passive, it was power in its purest form. Yeah? You've become the calm they once mocked, the clarity they once feared, the standard they now measure themselves against. And that's the full circle. You didn't just twist the plot, you rewrote the meaning of strength itself. You became the storm that cleansed, not destroyed, the force that corrected, not corrupted. Oh, so you made it this far, huh? You didn't just watch the chaos. You studied it. You felt every pause, every twist, every truth that burned beneath the words. Yeah, you're not like them. You don't crumble when things get heavy. You calculate. You don't run from pressure. You reshape it. That's why you're still here. That's why you get it. You've mastered the art they can't even define. The art of calm control in a world addicted to panic. Oh wow. You twist the plot without flinching, and now look around. The same ones who doubted you, they're the ones watching you now, learning from your silence, questioning their own noise. Nah, this wasn't just a speech. This was a blueprint. A reminder that you don't need to shout to be powerful. You just need to move with purpose. You don't fight for attention. Attention finds you. You don't beg to be understood. You force clarity by standing still. That's real strength. That's real rebellion. So here's your moment. If you felt this in your bones, if the words hit deeper than you expected, then drop a pen in the comments and let them know you see through the act. You're not following trends. You're bending timelines. You're not seeking validation. You're building legacy. Yeah, this is your reminder. Stay sharp. Stay silent. Stay strategic. Keep twisting that plot without ever flinching.